neighbors kind of chatting with each other. It does my heart good to see the tribe interacting with each other. Um, and for those of you who were fortunate enough to make last night's presentation, how many made it last night? Wow, that's it was excellent. Yes, we all enjoyed that experience. To just give you a brief overview, Dr. Clapper, who I have found to be what my relatives told me is a mensch, really a decent human being, honorable, and just he has a wealth of information, but he's just a good person. He agreed to come to our community, and he had this new book, and we told him we would help him with selling, and we have people here who helped him throughout the last few days, helping him sell his books. To kind of support his nonprofit, he's going around to different medical schools to try to teach doctors the education they have not yet had. And that is the benefit of eating plant foods. Food is medicine. The medical profession doesn't quite get it yet, but it is getting better. There is a new medical specialty. The new medical specialty is lifestyle medicine, and it deals with the 6 pillars of that can lead to health or disease. What are those 6 pillars? Do we know what they are? What we eat. What else? Sleep. How we sleep. Our exercise. How we move. The chemicals we choose. How we deal with stress. And avoiding harmful chemicals. Well, we learned from Dr. Clapper last night that we can flood our body with a red tide of harmful chemicals. Those harmful chemicals can come from the processed foods, the excess sugar and fats in our diet, and the meats. He went over a long list of different chemicals that can promote cancer, that can lead us to ill health. And if you didn't get a chance to see his lecture, he has this book, which I believe you can get on Amazon or somewhere in the world, to your bookstore. It's called Moving Medicine Forward. It's not just for doctors, it's for the public also. It's an easy read in that sense. So I'd encourage you to consider getting one of these books. If you, what's that? Yeah, I we videoed it. I had a pre-med student who videoed it. I haven't looked at it yet. If it worked out and it looks good, he did say that we could put it on our website, and I'll send it to Scott, and he'll put it on the website. Uh, if it has a quality that's a reasonable quality, okay? If people can get it, and then everybody will get to hear what he has to say. Okay, I think it probably will work. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? I'm not particularly looking for fame or fortune. I have my retirement plan funded up, so I don't charge for anything I do any longer. But there are some things that motivate me and inspire me. And I've shown you before. If you're new to the class, you may not have seen it. But my patients never used to get better until I changed what I was doing and then shared with them. They started sending me these cards and letters about 12 years ago. And then the new technology came along, which is what? The emails. But I must tell you, as much as I've enjoyed these, and I carry them around with me all the time, there was something that happened in the last 3 days. In the last 3 days, I didn't, I got a couple emails, but that did not stir my soul quite like when I was at the Vegan Fest. And there was this young lady who came up to me with her husband. And she says, I just told my husband that you're the doctor that changed my life. 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I listened to you at a talk at the medical school. You were doing a plank 5 minutes while you gave your lecture to us. You changed my life. I have been vegan ever since. She had the shirt on with the vegan. Her husband had the shirt on with the vegan. I said, wow, that's pretty amazing. But then she said, can I get a picture with you? I don't think that's ever happened to me before, except in family get togethers. But there was a special stirring of my soul when she asked me for that simple picture and I saw her post it on Facebook. Um, I I understand now how Dr. Clapper feels. He's had a lot more than I will ever get, but it was an amazing, good feeling of joy for me. And I just wanted to share that with you. Just, I don't know why. Yes.
I got to see that firsthand. I bet there was probably 40 people that came up. Can we have a picture with you? And lots of times it was with couples, and lots of times it was just individuals. But they just had a smile on their face, and Dr. Clapper had the biggest smile on his face. He was enjoying it so much, but he earned it.
Yes, he definitely has earned it. And, oh, let's see. Yeah, so I gave a quick count as best as I could. There was a little over 200 people there. He saw 75 down in Roseburg at the potluck on Saturday. There were 2,000, I believe, who attended at the Vegan Fest, and he had a ton of people who probably hugged him and said hello. So all in all, he sold over 110 books out of the 125 he sent. That's a lot of books. And I expect he had people kind of come and listen to his talks, 350 people total perhaps, and then the one-on-one interactions he had probably another 100, so it was a good event for him. And of course he got to experience my wife's cooking, which he sometimes had 2, 3, and 4 helpings of, so that made her feel pretty good. And I think he really enjoyed it, and our walk through Hendricks Park and the rhododendron gardens was just magical. Um, and he we had a really nice hug at the airport when he left this morning. So I'm kind of glowing, feeling really good about how this has all transpired. I explained to him however many books he sold or however his lectures went or whatever it is, his coming here has contributed to our expanding our tribe in this area, knocking doors, putting advertisements out, doing extra classes. That has kind of incorporated more people who understand what live lifestyle medicine is all about, and the Eugene Plant Provider nonprofit that we have. And so as that keeps expanding, um, there will be more and more people who are helped. They'll be getting off of their drugs, they'll be losing weight, they'll understand the deficiency in our diet. What's the deficiency in our diet? Yeah, so it's fiber. Yeah, You know, our community will be, when someone asks that question, they will not say, where do you get your protein? And that you're deficient in protein. They're going to be saying, look, we went to this lecture and we found out the real benefits of having fiber in our diet. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we'll answer your questions as best we can. But we're going to start with the first slide. So, next slide. So, our foods have changed. You learned this in the introductory lecture, but I like to keep repeating it because people need to understand that. Our foods have changed. The sugars, the oils and fats, even the cheeses, and what we used to grow in our gardens, the kind of fruits and vegetables. So, in the next slide, let's see how it's changed. The sugar, everybody is kind of like, oh man, that's hard to believe. In 1900, the average American was eating 5 pounds of sugar per person per year. In 2010, we were up to 77 pounds of sugar per person per year. And I checked the statistics of last year, and it's up to 100 pounds of sugar per person per year. And that's because of the processing of our foods. It does include a lot of snacks and other things, but also the preserved foods, the highly processed foods. Those have tons of sugar. Look at the oils and fat, how they've increased from 4 pounds to 74 pounds. And the cheese has gone from 2 pounds to 30 pounds. Cheese is at least 70% fat. It's no wonder we have an overweight population if you look at these numbers. And the soda drinks have gone from none to 53 gallons of a person per year. I drink none. So some individuals doing 106 gallons of that sugary water. Now let's go down to the fiber. I just really want you to focus on that. The average American is getting about 14 to 15 grams of fiber a day. And what did we used to eat? Anybody have the guess? What is it? But that's it. How much fiber do you think that we were eating? The number 30? Any other number? 80? We used to eat 60, 80, and 100 grams of fiber a day. Okay, so there's been a huge change. And so the next question that you might ask yourself is, why do we need fiber? What is it? And where do we actually get the fiber from? Let's go to the next slide. If fiber were discovered today, it would be classified as a multi-system drug with hormone, immune, and metabolic effects. Let's go to the next. I hope you come away from tonight's class thinking, I didn't know that fiber was that important. I know it's good for bowel movements, keep the stool soft so you don't have rabbit pellet stool and constipation and hemorrhoids and diverticulosis, which can lead to diverticulitis. Fiber is important for those, but it's important for so many other things. We mentioned the average American's eating about 14 to 15 grams. Our country is recommending about 25 to 35 grams a day. But that's influenced by industry because the countries that don't have a lot of chronic diseases, they're eating 60, 80, and 100 grams or more of fiber a day. As chronic disease rose, the intake of fiber has gone down. Gone down from 60 to 100. And in the Paleolithic times, they have taken samples of poop and they've found up to 200 grams of fiber a day is likely the amount. that was being ingested. Next slide, please. Fiber is the most underrated nutrient that we are ingesting. We all talk about protein and carbohydrate and fat. I want you to forget about those. You're going to get enough protein if you eat enough calories. If you're starving, that's a different matter. But if you're able to eat and you are not hungry most of the day, if you're keeping yourself pretty, you're eating healthy plant foods, you're going to get enough protein, you'll get enough carbohydrate, you'll get enough fat. The question is, will you get enough fiber? If you're eating a lot of highly processed foods, you may not be. Because what happens to white bread? It's a plant, right? What happens to the fiber when they make white bread? How do they make the whole? They strip the fiber away. Yeah, you could eat white rice and you could get a lot of calories over time, but it wouldn't be nearly as healthy as brown rice. Why is that? They strip the outer covering of fiber away from the brown rice and it becomes white rice. The fiber is what you want in your diet. Now, you didn't learn this in school. I get it. I didn't learn it either. I didn't learn it until I changed my diet. The fiber is the part of the plant that's not digested by humans. It's essential for the bacteria in your microbiome. These are the trillions of bacteria in your large intestine, the end of your small intestine. Okay, it influences metabolism, immunity, and hormones. Next slide. Okay, look at this slide right here. There's a cell wall, and you have these kind of fibers within the cell wall, and all these are made of, you can see these hooked together chemicals. There's they're molecules. They're molecules of what? Sugar. That's what fiber is. And you say, wait a second. Sugar's not good for you to have more sugar. There's something about the way the bonding is that does not allow these sugar molecules to be broken down by the digestive juices high in your intestinal tract. The hydrochloric acid and the pancreatic juices that break sugar down in your animal products, they can do that because there's a membrane, an animal membrane in that makes up cells that gets easily busted by these chemicals, the hydrochloric acid and the pancreatic juices. It busts the membrane up high. The protein, carbohydrate, and fat get released up high, get absorbed up high, never making it down low to where you have what are called L cells. The L cells are the cells in your body. They're lucky cells. L. They're lucky because they produce their own GLP-1 for you. That's what you see on TV every night. Ozempic, Wegovy, and a list of other GLP-1 drugs that are used for diabetes and for weight loss. They have some really good effects. They lower insulin resistance, so they improve diabetes. They suppress your appetite. They so that you get down to your ideal body weight. But the drugs come with side effects, nausea and vomiting and such delay in movement that sometimes the food just lays in your stomach and doesn't move along your intestinal tract. Your own GLP-1 production, however, doesn't have these side effects. So you get the benefits without the side effects. But what you have to do is eat foods that get the protein, carbohydrate, and fat released down low in your intestinal tract. What are those foods? Those are the foods that have these kind of bonded together fiber. Let's go on to the next slide. The L cells are in the end of your small intestine and into your large colon, where your microbiome is. So what happens is when you get plant cells, which have this fiber in their cell wall, remember I told you animal cells have membranes? Plant cells have cell walls. The cell wall is the fiber, does not get broken or busted up high. It gets fermented down low by the bacteria in your microbiome, the end of your small intestine and in your large colon. Yes, your appendix is down in that area. And you have these bacteria, trillions of bacteria, not billions, not hundreds, trillions of bacteria. Some people say you're more bacteria than you are human. There's so many genes involved. It's very fascinating science. If you're eating food which gets fermented down low in your intestinal tract like that, you'll release the protein, carbohydrate, and fat, and you'll stimulate these L cells. And that fiber is composed of sugar, which when it gets broken down, you get ATP, which is the energy that's required, the fuel that's required for our bodies. And the other thing that goes along with that is our teeth. Our teeth are like, we have grinding molars for eating plants like elephants and gorillas and hippopotami. We don't have teeth like those sharp and stabbing incisors of lions and tigers. And our intestinal tract is so long. When you meat eaters, they tend to have very tiny intestinal tracts because everything is broken up high, digested quickly. They need long tracts, and that's what we have. So if you look at our anatomy, plant eating is what our food is, actually. Now, we can live on eating animal products, but it doesn't lead to our best life ultimately. And if you went to the lecture last night, you would learn that those who are doing the carnivore diet, the paleo diet, the keto diets, where they're eating mainly animal products, they are going to suffer the consequences of that. Dr. Clapper believes 4 or 5 years that the studies will start coming out saying there will be an increase in or a decrease in blood flow to their hearts, that they're going to have more diabetes, that they're going to have increasing dementia. There are so many side effects, increased cases of cancer connected with eating animals for a food source. Plants is what works. Now, there's different kinds of fiber. Even though the fiber is pretty much the same, it's the way it's hooked up together, how it can act like mushy, like glue, like if you overcook the oatmeal, what's it like? Kind of mushy, sticky. What is that stickiness? What could it do in your intestine if you had a lot of extra cholesterol in your body? Do you think it could stick to it and wheelbarrow it right out of your intestine? Yeah. What happens if you had excess estrogen that was stimulating a breast cancer? Do you think it could hook up with that excess estrogen and whip it out of your body? What happens if you had excess toxins like mercury or lead? Do you think it could hook up with that? Yes, it does, because for every 10 grams of fiber you add to your diet, you decrease your heart attack risk by 10%. Why? Because you're decreasing your cholesterol level. You decrease your breast cancer by 8%. Why? Because it's that sticky stuff is hooking up with the excess estrogen. You decrease your colon cancer risk by how much? 10%. Why? It's hooking up with all those toxins so they can't lay against your intestinal wall, causing the cancer. It's fascinating science. When you learn about this, you start saying, this kind of makes sense. Maybe eating plants. Why aren't we eating more plants? That's one type of fiber, the soluble fiber. Then there's the insoluble fiber. The insoluble fiber is the hard, sticky, or not sticky, but sharp, like celery. Celery is not mushy, but it gets in your teeth, and sometimes you have to pull it out of there. That's the stuff that is the food for your microbiome. And if you feed the bacteria in your microbiome their food, they feed you back. It's called a symbiotic relationship. You feed them, they feed you back. What do they feed you back? Chemicals. They convert these glucose molecules into butyrate. Butyrate is an anti-inflammatory chemical, cuts down on inflammation, which is one of the root causes of disease. They also make a hormone called serotonin. 70 to 90% of the serotonin in your body is made in your microbiome. What does serotonin do? For those of you taking antidepressants or anti-anxiety medicine, you'll have heard the term serotonin reuptake inhibitor. We have written for so many prescriptions for that, likely due to the fact that we are so low on our fiber intake. Because when you increase your fiber intake, you'll increase your serotonin, your mood will improve. That's what the studies show. You'll have less anxiety, less depression. There are so many benefits to eating a variety of different fiber. You don't have to pick a specific plant. What food has insoluble or what food has soluble fiber? Just eat the plants. They have a combination of both. So as long as you're eating a variety of whole plant foods, we're talking about 30 to 40 different plant foods a week. That may sound like a lot to you if you're used to, just a head lettuce like I was 15 years ago. And that's the only green you knew in your life. Well, now I eat collard greens and arugula and spinach and broccoli and chard and I can't think of any more. Kale, there it is. It's growing in my yard. All right. Insoluble fiber. There's another type of material which is called resistant starch. Resistant starch, it has properties of soluble and insoluble. So, where does resistant starch come from? You think potatoes, beans, when they get reheated, so you heat them up and they get absorbed like they normally would. But when you put them in the refrigerator and you eat leftovers, the bonds form even stronger than they were before. So you get more fiber like effect. It's called resistant starch. It has soluble and insoluble benefits. So reheat your potatoes and your beans. Don't throw them out after one meal. Um, you can batch cook and use it over several day period of time, up to maybe 5 or 6 days. And then green bananas. If you love green bananas, it has a lot of resistant starch on them. Okay, let's go to, wait a second. Different plant foods have different amounts of soluble and insoluble fiber and resistant starch. So eat how much? What is a variety of plant foods? 30 to 40 different plant foods in a week. Yes. That would be ideal, but it wouldn't be very practical because for me, when the beans come off, I want to eat them. So if you're able to put them in the refrigerator and eat something else, that's fine. Yes, it would be a healthier strategy to not eat them. But next slide. Okay, we talked about what fiber is. Here's some more resistant starch. Beans and rice. I didn't add that. Um, and lentils, and let's see, yams, potatoes, green bananas, and even raw potato starch. Next, would they orange thing or lentils? They come, but lentils are could be black or green or orange. I don't know. There's probably 5 different colors of lentils. So, and they have different consistency and they're fun to play with. Think about this as fun, not as work. You don't need to remember all this stuff. You're on a journey, and you're going to be trying new foods out and having some fun with this. Next slide. Oh, we're at the next slide. So if you're looking for okay. So if we're looking at the gel gooey stuff, oats and barley and psyllium can have that. And then if you're looking for the fermentable stuff, that's more beans and onions and garlic, uh, resistant starch, the cool potatoes, rice, legumes. Okay, next. Yes. It won't change the bonds again. It'll be stay resistant starch. Okay. Fiber feeds the microbiome. What's the microbiome? Do we all know? It's the trillions of bacteria that are taking residency in your body. If you like them and you feed them enough food, they'll like you right back. It'll be a good relationship. The gut microbiomes, the way they break apart fiber is they ferment. They bust the cell wall by a process called fermentation. Okay. They produce what are called, I told you, butyrate. Technically, they're short chain fatty acids. They're anti inflammatory. You heard of short chain fatty acids ever before? Omega 3s are short chain fatty acids. Yes. It is, but it's occurring way down low at the end of your intestinal tract. It's not absorbed high up. So it doesn't spread tons of sugar. You don't get that sugar spike in your bloodstream. Does that make sense? They're glucose molecules that are hooked together in such a way that when they get fermented off, they get broken down into butyrate. They don't get broken down like, okay, here's now another sugar molecule, another sugar. It gets busted apart in a way that you get the butyrate, you get the serotonin, the other chemicals. I don't really know exactly the full process. I'm not a chemist and whatever. You do not digest it in the way that the animal products are digested. They get their membranes busted up high by the hydrochloric acid and pancreatic juices, get absorbed up high. So yes, it's a different process. Okay? You're welcome. Next slide. Okay, what you eat determines the kind of bacteria you put in your colon or your microbiome. What is that supposed to mean? In the desert, desert animals have their food. In the ocean, ocean animals have their food. It's different, right? If you tried to feed the desert animals ocean food, probably wouldn't work very well. It's sort of like putting diesel into a car that needs regular gasoline. It doesn't work too well. So, if you are eating a diet like the standard American diet fare of meat, dairy, and eggs, you will produce or you will encourage the growth, feed bacteria that are called Bacteroides. Bacteroides are a particular kind of bacteria that produce a substance called TMAO. This is the bottom line. You get this TMAO, it's trimethylamine N oxide. It gets produced as trimethylamine that gets converted in your liver. You don't need to really know that, but it will push cholesterol into your arteries, cause plaque formation, so leading to atherosclerosis. Do you want those kind of bacteria that'll produce TMAO? I don't think I want them. In fact, I know I don't want them because I'm doing this because I didn't want my wife to die of heart disease. So why would I eat something that pushes cholesterol into the artery, causing more plaque? It doesn't make sense to me. What I eat is plants, and I populate my microbiome with Prevotella. Prevotella are a type of bacteria that love plant foods, and they love the fiber. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so let's play this video here. You've heard me ranting for long enough. For a moment, I'll get back to ranting. This is way too much fun.
Good bacteria, those that live in symbiosis with us, are nourished by fruits and veggies, grains and beans, whereas dysbiosis, bad bacteria that may contribute to disease, are fed by meat, junk food.
So the sound
food,
will be coming.
Seafood, dairy.
Just stay
and
tuned. We
Typical
can go
Western
back
diets can decimate our good
and see if we can
gut
find this.
flora. We live with trillions of symbionts, good bacteria that live in symbiosis with us. We help them, they help us. And a month on a plant-based diet.
So you're going back. There's still no sound to this for some reason.
Good bacteria, those that live in symbiosis with us, are nourished
While
by fruits
we're
and veggies,
getting the
grains,
sound, I got to
beans
tell
and
you,
beans.
yesterday when we came to the Springfield High School auditorium, I took Dr. Clapper, we took him in the car over there, and we were doing the setup, and everything was going good, and we were like maybe 35 minutes before he was supposed to talk. And he looks over at me with a face that says, "Oh, I don't have my connector for my computer to hook the HDMI cord in, and I don't have my clicker, which has the pointer where I can point. I have to have those." So I said, "Okay, come on, let's go." We got back in my car, and fortunately I didn't get a ticket but he had a wild ride of Mr. Toad. If any of you remember that in Disneyland, we were screaming down the road. And when we got home, I said, now don't you dare fall down the steps. When you go up to the room, you take your time. It's okay if we're late a little bit. And we got back by about 5 minutes before the event.
Bacteria, those that live
Are we
in
not going to get any
symbiosis.
video sound, do you think, Ed? If not, we'll go on. Yes. Yeah. Okay, put the video back on again, and let's just see the little speaker that was X'd out. The middle on the left. It was over. Oh, it's right over here. Where's the speaker? There. Where is it at? Here? This? I don't know if that's really a speaker. It's a good thought. That's all right. Nothing to be sorry about. All right, let's go on to the next slide. Videos, actually, what we could do is probably use the last video session to share some of these videos with you. Scott has uploaded them on the website, and he may use one of the last ones. Go to the next slide. We'll just have fun here together tonight. Okay, so why is fiber so important? I've kind of gone over this, but this is the review before the test. No, you don't have any test here, but I want to make sure you all understand this. We feed the good bacteria, they feed us back. What do they give us? Butyrate. It's an anti-inflammatory, turns off hunger, so we get weight loss. The serotonin is produced in our lower intestine. It'll decrease anxiety, depression. There's that wheelbarrow effect where you take off excess cholesterol and excess estrogen, excess toxins. It gets wheelbarrowed right out of the body. Okay, next slide. This butyrate, it improves your colon health. It's an anti-cancer, inflammatory. Keep going. Next. You'll see some references here that, hey, you want documentation. We're not talking about looking at some, I don't know, the New York Times or something. These are peer-reviewed, evidence-based articles that we use to back up what we're saying here. Butyrate, it's a cancer protective molecule, reduces inflammation, and it promotes killing of the cancer cells. Apoptosis means they just split apart. They're like a balloon that pops as it goes up in the air. Keep going. Next slide. Next video is good, boosting the good bacteria. How do you do that? How do you get good bacteria? The Prevotella. Anybody have any clue how you would promote the growth? Fiber. Where do we get fiber? What plants do we get fiber from? All plants. Every plant has fiber. There isn't a plant on the planet that doesn't have fiber. All plants have fiber. How much fiber is there in animal products? Zero. You close your eyes and what do you see? It's dark. There's nothing. There's no fiber in any animal product. Why would we deprive ourselves of more fiber when we know there's so much benefit to it? So now you're thinking, wait a second, can you have too much fiber? No, you're not going to have too much fiber unless you're not drinking enough fluids. If you're just eating fiber that has no water in it, you could get plugged up potentially, but you're going to
be hydrating yourself adequately. You're going to keep your urine light yellow to almost clear. You're going to keep yourself well hydrated and eat as much fiber as you can tolerate, which is about 3 to 4 or maybe up to maximum 5 pounds a day of plant-based foods. That's the healthiest way to go. Now, some of you say, well, wait a second. Can't I have some animal product occasionally? Those of you who heard Dr. Clapper said, sure, you can have some, you can gradually transition, but ultimately, the healthiest diet is the most plant-based. And I'm here to tell you, it's been 14 years for me. I'm still alive. I haven't touched one animal product that I'm aware of, unless someone snuck something in at a potluck or some other affair. And I don't want to brag that I feel healthy, but I do. And I want you to all feel healthy also. Okay, next slide. Let's see what Friday favorites, see if that plays, just for the fun of it. Probably won't, because they all played before. It doesn't like night. Yeah, go ahead.
Problems, and she says, I'm not supposed to have a lot of fiber. So what do you tell people like that? Because it's like you're missing out on some of the most healthiest food for you that would probably take away all of your other problems.
You're absolutely right. And so what I tell people like that is this. If you want to be building your muscles, you don't start out with 100 pounds.
Right.
You start out very gradually and you build up over time. And for the person with the bypass, they're going to have to start slowly. They're going to increase bit by bit as they accommodate. They'll learn what they're able to tolerate, but they need to do this slowly.
Right.
Dr. Bolshevitz in Fiber Fuel goes over that. The people with irritable bowel syndrome, they probably need it the most.
Right.
And they need to do it gradually. They need to gradually build up.
Yeah, same with the diverticulitis.
And so diverticulitis, if you have inflammation going on and you're in the hospital, you're on antibiotics, resting your colon is probably a reasonable thing. But once you've recovered through that acute episode, then you gradually build back up, and having fiber in your diet is the appropriate thing. But during that acute episode of diverticulitis, you may have to forego that for a while. Good questions. Yes.
So on your chart here, the sheet that you handed out, the first half of it tells what a serving is, basically, like soy, 1 cup of soy is 1 point. But when you get down to the grains, it doesn't tell how much you need for 1, 2, 3, 4, or 8 points.
I don't know. I don't use that. Scott,
That's the.
do you use it? Do you want to share
Yeah, that's.
how,
We take a look at one.
how you use
I didn't
it?
have enough for everybody.
Yeah.
Sure.
One more, we lost it that room.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I thought I had more.
Points are too much calculation for me.
Well, point means, that's not
Here,
grams of
here's-
fiber.
Here,
What? Oh,
here's,
right. We'll see, so grains, 1 point processed grains, that means like one, gram of fiber, 2 points is 2 grams, that's a point is a gram of fiber. And so it's just trying to, number of points is the number of grams of fiber. So it's like usually like a cup of brown rice or something, or oatmeal, that would be a serving. So whole grain is 3 points, so essentially a cup of cooked oatmeal or something would be like 3 grams of fiber, and that's a whole gram. Or 4, I guess it's, so it says 4 for example, so that'd be a cup. And then like beans, it's a half a cup is a serving, it says there. So it kind of says the serving, but I noticed, on the grains, it doesn't say what a serving is, but I believe it's a cup of cooked grain is considered or like a whole bagel or like that's why white pasta or white rice is only like 1 gram of fiber versus brown rice is 3. So the point is equal to a gram of fiber.
okay, I tend to use, Gregor's Daily Dozens.
Yeah.
How do I get enough fiber? I eat 3 servings of legumes. A serving is a half a cup. It's on the free app that you can download on your phone. 3 servings of legumes, a half a cup, so I'm eating a cup and a half of beans, lentils, chickpeas, split peas. I eat 3 servings of whole grain. They're a half a cup is a serving. So that's, I do 2 servings of oatmeal or groats or some kind of whole grain. Maybe quinoa, maybe rice, for another serving, so 3 servings of whole grain, so 3 and 3. And then I eat 4 servings of fruit, maybe 5. And then I eat 5 servings of vegetable, or a cup of nuts, a little flaxseed, a tablespoon, maybe some chia seed, and then some spice.
Is
Some
it
water.
called Gregor's Daily?
Daily Dozen.
Okay.
So look up Daily Dozen either on his website or just look it up on your Apple or smartphone. Daily Dozen, it'll be Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen. You won't be sorry. It's got a green background with a white Nike check mark on there. And you'll like, oh, okay, this is easy. And he even has videos. Click on the little eye when you get to the section, and that will take you to the page that shows you the serving size, and you'll be good. And if you can't figure it out, send me a note, give me your phone number, I'll call you, we'll talk you through it, and you'll be happy. You'll figure it out. Now, how much fiber could you get if you eat like Dr. Gregor is recommending you to eat? You know how much? You'd eat like me. You'd get 60 to 70 grams of fiber, maybe up to 80 grams of fiber a day if you had large portions, maybe a little less smaller. How do you get that much? Has the largest amount of fiber bang for your buck? You want to take a guess? Here's the categories. By the way, talking about here's the categories, Dr. Clapper was on Jeopardy! My wife read about this. My granddaughter loves Jeopardy, watches it every night, and she shared that. And so my wife asked him, were you really on Jeopardy? He says, yeah. And one of my friends got a ticket, and I did that, and won $11,000. It was really a fun story, listening to him about his Jeopardy experience when he was younger, many years ago. So 4 things that you can think about. Legumes, that's the beans and lentils. Whole grains, fruit, vegetable. Let's talk how much fiber you get in each category. Which one has the highest? Anyone want to take a guess? What is it? Vegetable? Beans. Beans have 7 grams of fiber for every half cup, approximately. I'm eating 3 servings. How many grams of fiber do I get?
21.
That's all the mathematics I know. Okay, now. I eat 3 servings of whole grains. How much is in a serving of whole grain bread? How much fiber? Anybody know? You know, you go, you look on the package, is this whole grain? Or is it white bread? White bread is about 1 gram of fiber with 20 carbohydrates. It's got all the fiber stripped out pretty much. But a whole grain bread has about 3 or 4. Yeah. So if you find one with 4, that's really probably pretty good. And you multiply it by 5, and if the carbohydrate is less than that number, so 4 times 5 would be 20. That would be a whole grain bread. 3 to 4 grams. Let's say 3 grams for each serving of whole grain. That's another 9 or 10. On to my what? 21? We're up to 31. Okay, that's only 2 categories. We have 2 more to go. Let's take a fruit. I'm eating 4 servings a day. How many grams of fiber in an average apple or 4? 3. 3 to 4. 3. Let's take it 3. And 3 times 4 is another 12. What are we up to?
That's 33.
It's getting complicated now. Huh?
33.
43. We're going to go back to the 1 and 0 pretty soon, like the computer does. And then we're doing 5 serving vegetable. Each serving is about 4. How many is that?
20.
20 more onto what? 40 something? We're
63.
63. And then we add some nuts onto there and a little flaxseed. We're up into the close to the 70 range. How easy is that? Would you have enough to eat? Yes. Most people say it's too much. You expect me to eat all these servings of food? Well, we tell them you don't have to, but we want to make sure you're not going away from the table hungry. You want to eat more. And if you're trying to lose weight, you want to eat more to weigh less. What do you want to eat more of? If you listen to Scott in his calorie density lecture, you will have learned what? You will have learned that if you're eating non-starchy vegetables, they're 100 calories a pound. You're not going to gain weight eating 100 calories a pound. You eat 3 to 5 pounds of that, you only have 300 to 500 calories. That's not enough. Concentration camp people barely live on 700 calories approximately a day.
Usually I better.
And it can be as low as that, but it's hard to survive and be healthy on that, on just eating non-starchy, like living on salad. So you have to add some fruit, you have to add some whole grains and legumes. Those are in the 400 to 600 calories. The fruit is 300 calories. If you stay in those calorie range, you'll eat about 500 calories a day, as you might have learned listening to Scott. And you will get to your ideal body weight. You'll be happy people. You'll be getting plenty of fiber. You'll be very satisfied. If you can't eat everything on Gregor's Daily Dozen, don't worry about it. Do you eat it all in one meal? Not likely. Do you eat it in 2 meals? That's what my wife and I do with it. I have a snack in the afternoon. But eating over 3 meals is okay. Eating 6 meals is okay, depending on what you need, especially if you have a bypass, you can't do just a couple minutes. You're eating all day long, grazing. All right. Any other questions? Yes.
So my question is on the beverages. 60 ounces of beverages a day. That's like 2 quarts. That is a lot of water.
It's too much water for my bladder. However, for a number of people, it's important to drink that much. You want to keep yourself hydrated. I think those figures are to make sure everybody in the population is covered. And if you're just getting too filled up, you're going to cut back a bit on that. But you want to keep your urine light yellow to almost clear and not don't obsess about, I gotta drink that much. Now, if you're sweating, working out for the average person, doing a lot of physical stuff and you're sweating, you might need that amount.
Well, there's a lot of water in fruits and vegetables too.
There is, and if you're really totally whole food, plant-based, you're eating a lot, you're gonna drink a lot less water than is in that app. But the problem is the vast majority of us are way underhydrated. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anything else?
I have a question. Is it a good idea to drink some water before you go to bed, even though I make you wake up?
I personally don't drink anything after 6 o'clock. I'm giving my body a rest. I exercise in the morning, I sleep at night, give my body a rest. I don't eat after 6 o'clock because it's kind of like, give my body a rest, get it used to metabolizing food, gear up, if I get the energy, and then at night, just kind of relax and not worry. Now, many people are snacking at night and drinking at night. Can interfere with your sleep potentially. If you have reflux symptoms, that can, get that acidity back into
So I
the.
sleep because of snacking, would it be a good idea to have water in your system overnight?
If you wanted to have a little water to keep your mouth moist a little bit more, it's not harm.
Okay.
But if it's waking you up, that's a problem. Anybody else? Okay, let's go over to here. Fiber in your gut barrier integrity. Fiber strengthens the intestinal lining. You have about a 1 cell thickness that keeps the outside world from getting inside your body, into your bloodstream area. And if you're not eating enough fiber, you're not getting butyrate, which is going to support the lining of your intestinal wall. And that's if you get breakdown of those cells and the junction between the cells in your intestine, you can get endotoxins, which are toxic to your body, cause inflammation. And next slide. Fiber and hormones. We talked about GLP-1. I didn't talk to you about processing food. When you highly process a plant food, you throw it in the blender, what happens to the cell walls? They break down. Now, they don't break down completely, but if you have a blender and you're making a lot of smoothies, if you're living on smoothies, you're busting the cell wall pretty much. So where are the nutrients, the protein, carbohydrate, and fat getting absorbed? Up higher.
Thank you so much. I have like been the idea or my philosophy for a long, long time. And I've been pushing it to people whenever I talk about it, but everybody kind of looks at me like I'm weird. And it's like, so it's nice to get confirmation.
Does it make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, totally makes sense.
Now,
Yeah.
does that mean that the microbiome is not getting fiber? No, you're getting all the fiber because you're drinking this all. So your microbiome is getting the food they need to make butyrate and to make serotonin. But the only thing you're missing out on is you're getting less GLP-1 when you're highly processing those foods. Now, there is one little caveat to this. Brooke Goldner treats autoimmune disease by doing these huge smoothies, and we had a demonstration at the Vegan Fest of taking a pound of dark green leafy, stuffing it into there and putting flax seeds and chia seeds or whatever, and drinking that down. And that she has been able to stop autoimmune disease, reverse it by doing that. So I don't know, maybe the GLP-1 is not as important in stopping and reversing autoimmune disorders I don't know all the science there is to this. I don't know that anybody does. So there may be certain things that can be tried for certain kinds of people. So it's on an individual basis. But by and large, when you're eating highly processed plant foods, like what are highly processed plant foods? The Impossible Burgers. The what else? Hot dogs, made from soy,
Cheese, vegan.
the vegan cheeses, yeah, highly processed foods. You're not getting much GLP-1. So are you going to be able to lose weight eating those things as easily? No, you're not getting as much GLP-1. If you're interested in losing weight, you really want to be focusing, how do I make more of my own GLP-1? Okay, let's go on to the next. Okay, we talked about making your own GLP-1. Next. Keep going. Next. Fiber and heart disease. I gave you that statistics. For every 10 grams of fiber you add to your diet, you're going to reduce, here it's 7 grams. It decreases your risk by 9 to 10%. If you don't want heart disease, you're going to add more fiber. Strongest benefit from legumes should have been first, then whole grains, then other produce, right? 7, 4, 3, 3, 4. Next. How much fiber protects, how does fiber protect your heart? It lowers the LDL cholesterol. Remember I told you, wheelbarrows excess cholesterol out of your body? Okay, next slide. It protects against colon cancer. You all know how it does it? Wheelbarrow. Yeah, it's the wheelbarrow effect. Let's go on next. Fiber and breast cancer. How does that get protected? Wheelbarrow. Another wheelbarrow effect. Less breast cancer. Let's go to the next. Other cancers like gastric cancer, and maybe even ovarian cancer may be reduced with more fiber. Next slide. Fiber and type 2 diabetes. What do you think about type 2 diabetes and fiber? Type 2 diabetes, you know the cause of diabetes? The fats get into the cells and they gum up the machinery. They lead to insulin resistance. The insulin doesn't work very well. You've got to lower the fat. How could you lower fat? Do you think fiber might hook up?
Yeah.
With that excess? Yes.
So I'm a little confused because I've always heard that nuts are good, that nuts have fat in them.
Yes.
And so you've said in the past the quarter cup of nuts.
Yes.
So is that enough nuts to have the value of nuts?
It's enough nuts to get the value. That's what Gregor recommends, a quarter cup of nuts a day. And you'll get enough value and maybe 1 Brazil nut a week. And a tablespoon of ground flax. You're going to get enough fat in your diet to keep your brain from losing all its fat around the nerves.
And it's a different kind of fat than say the fat we get from meat, right? So our bodies can break it down easier and utilize it easier. I can't do other fats
So you said it was the fat that comes from where?
from nuts.
From nuts is what?
Is easier to process, it's easier to, it's more utilized. It's broken down, so it's more utilized. Rather than not being able to get broken down and not be able to have much more purpose.
So when you're chewing nuts, how does that get down into your intestine? Is it chunks of nuts or is it really mashed up like peanut butter? Is it like peanut butter?
No.
Almond butter?
No. I just talk about like almonds or.
If you eat almonds, they stay in pretty large chunks. Will make it probably down into the lower intestinal tract and stimulate your GLP-1, which will lower the insulin resistance. And that's the effect that you're getting from diabetes. I just thought of that. I haven't given much thought to this before. If you eat peanut butter or almond butter, it gets ground up so much, whereas most of that being absorbed up high. So you're not gonna get as much GLP-1, but it's the GLP-1 that's lowering, that's improving your diabetes. Now, when you eat more than a quarter of a cup is 150 calories. If you're eating a 1,500 calorie diet, that's 10% of your diet right there. When you do half a cup, you're now at 300 calories. That's 20% of your diet. When you're doing 3/4 of a cup of nuts, you're getting up into a range where you're not going to lose weight very easily. You're not going to get rid of the fat in your cells. Same way with avocados, similar to nuts. Same way with olives. Be careful of those. Yes.
Where do seeds fall into this?
Seeds are like nuts. Nuts and seeds are 2,500 calories a pound approximately. So you got to be careful of how much you're eating. But a tablespoon of ground flax or a tablespoon of chia seed with a quarter cup of nuts is a reasonable amount. And once a week, Brazil nut. Okay, let's go on to the next. It's a good thing we don't have any more videos. Weight loss we've talked about because of the GLP-1. Let's go to the next. The gut, brain, and mood. How could what we eat and fiber affect our mood? There's a hormone.
Serotonin.
Serotonin, very good. You learned from the beginning of this talk, before I got so verbose, that 70 to 90% of the serotonin produced in the microbiome. If you starve your microbiome, not enough fiber, you're not going to have serotonin. Your mood is going to be more anxious, more depressed, perhaps. And how might this affect your sleep if you don't get enough fiber? Do you know what the precursor is? The melatonin, sleep hormone?
Serotonin.
Serotonin. It's the precursor to the melatonin hormone. So if you don't have enough serotonin, you're going to maybe not have enough melatonin. It's may be disruptive to your sleep and you develop insomnia and other problems. Next slide. More reasons to eat fiber. It normalizes your bowel movements. We talked about that briefly. It reduces hemorrhoids and diverticular disease, lowers colon cancer risk and cholesterol and blood sugar levels. It helps you achieve a healthy weight and you live longer. That could be a problem, but we don't want it to be a problem. We want you to live longer, squaring the curve. We don't want you to live your last 10 years in chronic disease. If you're eating a diet, a plant diet, and Dr. Clapper in his book you'll read, he doesn't say plant-based diet. He says a plant diet. He's all in. I'm all in. I'm encouraging you all to go all in. Do you have to? No, you get to eat anywhere you want on the animal to plant spectrum. If it feels like you have to have those animal products, it's your choice. But if you want to be the healthiest you can be, you'll go all in for not very much processing of the plants. Next slide. Best sources of fiber, you know what it is on this list. What is it?
Oats and barley.
Well, if that's about 4 grams of fiber in a serving. Fruit is, the vegetables are about 4. Chickpeas are in the legumes, 7 grams in a half a cup. Why do we have to keep going over this? Because it's not like intuitive. We're just learning about it. So doing repetition is what we need to learn the skill. Just like we're playing the piano or learning to swing the tennis racket, we keep going over and over and over until we get it. Next, how much fiber is enough? Our country recommends 25 to 35 grams. 60 to 100 is even better. Get a variety of different fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. Increase gradually and make sure you're adequately hydrated. Those are the principles. You all get to decide on an individual basis what works for you. If you're struggling with this, get a coach. You have free coaching in your tribe here. That's me. I don't charge to talk with you by phone or Zoom, you know, and there are other people within our group who might consider doing this also. Next. Fiber supplements. How good do you think they are?
You know,
What's the problem with supplements?
the process,
They're what?
the process.
They are processed, so you're stripping away a lot of the nutrients. And, you know, eating psyllium powder or seeds is like, it doesn't have a lot of taste. I want to have fun and I want to enjoy the food that I'm eating. I don't, you know, the studies show that you just don't get as much benefit overall by doing supplements. And the example I like to use with supplements is you go to the health center and they play this Mozart concert and the music is just beautiful. And you say, I especially love the flute section. So you take all the flutes out and you put them on another stage. And then you add 100 more flutes in there. You don't add the other instruments and you say, play that Mozart symphony again. Doesn't sound the same. It doesn't work the same as when it was working in coordination with all the other chemicals and all the other instruments that it's used to being connected with. There's hundreds and thousands of different plant chemicals that work together in ways that are mysterious. We still don't know. Eat the whole foods. It's grown in nature. Get your nutrients from the whole foods and stop thinking that you need a supplement for everything, except for B12 and maybe vitamin D.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Unless you're having problems, there may be some specific thing you want to add, but talk to your doctor. Common myths. Fiber causes bloating. It's usually temporary. It usually clears in about a few weeks to a few months. I've had a few people who had some diarrhea or some bloating, but why is that? Because they don't have the microbiome built up. They didn't take it gradually enough. And so add 5 grams of fiber once a week if you're worried about bloating and gas. And we all know beans, the musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. There may be some truth to that. And initially, that's the case. But the kind of amino acids that are in the plant foods have less sulfur. They don't have that egg rotten odor smell as much. So you may be tooting, but no one will have that odor that makes them want to leave the room. And we all pass gas, whether we want to admit it or not. It's happening to all of us. And I'm an old guy, so I can talk about it now without being too embarrassed. All right. Fruit sugar is bad. Well, I've had a number of diabetics tell me, hey, I can't eat fruit, I can't eat potatoes. It has sugar, too much sugar in it. When you have the sugar combined with the fiber, it's not bad. It's a healthy source. You don't get those spikes. All right.
So what fruit do you think is the best for fiber, or is it?
The best fruit for fiber? Something that's got a lot of bulk to it, like apples. Gregor recommends 2 apples a day for weight loss or for losing lowering cholesterol. 2 apples a day. I don't eat 2 apples. I eat an apple a day usually with a banana.
Keeps the doctor away.
Berries are something you really want to eat. At least a half a cup of blueberries or blackberries or strawberries. They have high antioxidant. And so that would be one of the best things that I would recommend when it comes to fruit. So your gut will adapt if you gradually introduce fiber. Next slide. We're getting to the end here. Fiber is foundational medicine. It feeds the microbiome. It regulates your hormones we've talked about, the serotonin and the melatonin and the butyrate. And it lowers your heart disease risk. And it reduces your cancer risk. And it improves your longevity. Next slide. Next slide. Eat more plants. Eat them whole. Feed your microbiome daily. Make them your friend and let your body make its own medicine. With that, we'll take a couple more questions from you all. This has been way fun.
What I can do too is show the on the website where you can watch the one from last session and it has the videos in it.
Yeah,
So I can still post this one, it's this week's, but if you want me to show on the website, I can show.
yeah, probably do that. Yes, another question.
So this relates more to additives, but soy milk that you find on the shelf. I've only found one brand of soy milk that doesn't have a ton of additives to it.
Yes.
So are these additives that I mean. to me-
So I usually tell people, if you're eating a plant-based diet and you're having some soy milk, even if it has that chemistry set, you're probably okay. But if you're particularly sensitive, try the milk without the extra
What's the
additives.
brand?
I'm more of a purist, so I would like the one with the least amounts of chemistry set on
Trader
it.
Joe's is the only one I found that is only soybeans and water.
I think that's a great choice, and that's what would be my
Is it
preference.
this brand? Yes.
Yeah, it's Trader Joe's brand. I make my own. It's with a soy bella machine. There's two different kinds of machines. It's $100 or something for the machine. You just take the soy seeds, you soak them for 4 to 6 hours, and then you put it in this machine with just water, and it makes white
What kind
water.
of machine? What's it
I'll show you guys.
Okay.
So this,
So
so if
do
you're
you
on,
need the microphone?
I think you can, well, there's some people in the, that's fine. Okay, so we got this microphone here. So you're on the home page. So here's the home page right here. For livelifestylemedicine.com, and you click on class archives right there. And then scroll down, class archives, you'll see here complete class archives and most recent classes. Click that. And then it's one more click. So then this right here says click here and then click on videos. So this gets you to our YouTube channel. So you click here one more time. And then it said to go to videos. And then so right here where it says videos. And that's it. And then now it's kind of in reverse order. You can scroll back. Magic of Fiber. The last time was right here. So if you just click this video, that's the same talk that Charlie just did tonight, but it has the videos in it. So pretty easy. If you're not sure, if you want to see that again, you can also watch the website tutorial on the beginning of the on the homepage.
It's a couple clicks to get there.
Yeah. But
Instead of just one click. Okay, I think that's it. I don't think, do you need is there anything else past there? I think it's like we're into hyperspace after this. Okay, it's just references. No one cares about looking at those. Any other questions that were here? Yes.
I'm just gonna ask one of the PLP ones with now the shops and all the things that, you know, we're doing, like my insurance company doing a pilot and
Yes,
covering it more, but you're saying your own body can make its own.
yeah.
I just wondered, like, though, if you're at kind of risk for trying to do the initial stuff, is there? I guess I'm just looking at risk factor, is there reasons not to, you know, the shot?
GLP-1 shot. The reasons not to do it are the side effects. The side effects are nausea and vomiting, slowing of your digestive process, where food gets accumulated. So if you're in an accident, you have a stomach full of food, whatever it might be, and you have to go to surgery, there are some increased risks there. But, the bottom line is, I'm not totally opposed to using those medicines, but I hope they're not used as a distraction. See, because people get the idea that if I take this GLP-1,
That I don't have.
then I don't have to do anything with my food. I don't have to change my life. The medicine's gonna bring me health. And the people that do that, the studies show after 1 year, your weight loss plateaus. You lose about 20-25% of your weight with the best of them. So you go from being overweight to staying overweight because you've only lost about 20 or 25%. And then you take that medicine the rest of your life, getting no further benefit, because as soon as you stop, the studies show, the weight comes back. The other problem with taking those things is that you lose muscle and bone to the tune of about 40%. And whereas if you lose your weight by just changing your diet and exercising, you will only lose 25% of muscle and bone loss. And then when you gain your weight back, stopping the GLP-1, you have more fat than when you started. You're not as healthy. So, am I a big fan of doing that? No, but there are some people who are just totally stuck. And so giving them a boost, letting them lose some weight in anticipation of getting their knee surgery or other, but with the explanation, look, we're not going to do this past 6 months.
Right.
You're going to get this as a jump start, but you have got to change your diet. You have got to do increase exercise to build your muscles and strength up. If you choose not to do that, we're not going to keep writing for this medicine. So the question is, if you were able to achieve the same results, why not do it and not be distracted by going for another shot? It would be better to spend that time that you're riding in the car to the doctor for the shot out in nature, walking at a pace which is above what you normally do. But that may require support from friends and groups like this and help with the understanding that you can do this and that it is hard to do this alone. And we understand that. That's why having a coach can be helpful.
What if we hear that after a year?
What she was saying is there a disadvantage to just, why can't we just use the GLP-1 drugs as opposed to something else? Because you do lose weight, but there are side effects connected with it.
Why does the weight come back after a year?
Why does it come back?
Because the
Because
body's not doing that, something else is doing it for you.
it plateaus after a year. If you keep taking the drug, you'll probably stay there. But it plateaus because your brain says, wait a second. What are you, starving us here? We need to be eating more. And so it causes, it stimulates your appetite to eat more, and it maintains your body weight. You're kind of like a set point. But if you do this gradually, you're doing it on your own, you don't have that same set point blocking you.
Thank you.
How cool is this? Pretty neat.
Yeah.
This was such great fun with you all. I don't want to keep everybody here, but we'll stay after for a little bit if you have any other questions.
What was the name of that soy milk acre?
Oh, it's Soy Bella.
Soy
SOYBELLA. Soy Bella.
That's the Trader Joe's person.
No, that's the Charlie Ross version. You buy a machine.
Oh, the machine.
It's the machine, but there's another machine out there. I can't remember which someone liked better, but I've kind of gotten hooked on Soy Bella.
Okay, thank you.
Check them out. You may find something better. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Like, risky substances, food addiction. The pillar of lifestyle medicine, you haven't covered it. And then physical activity and
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
But it's
It's great.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.